Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and what a beautiful morning it is, man. I'm here with my man Will and Seven. Will, how was your weekend, man?
Good man, good man. How you doing?
I'm here, man. Glad to be here, man. Seven, how we doing?
I think
Like
his mic is
seven.
still down.
Yeah, I think his mic's still not working.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about this, man. I don't know if you've seen that. So things are happening in college football, man, which is probably reason why some of the long-term legend college football coaches have probably retired. But prime time is not particularly happy, man, with the simple fact that at this point, you got teams like Texas Tech who got billionaires backing them, paying for these players and whatnot. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
he went on a press conference and stated that college football needs a salary cap at this point, man. Do you agree with this, man? College football need a salary cap?
I get his point. I get where he's coming from on that, but I don't think so. I would rather see things stay the way they are and these kids be given education on the money that they're being given. Um, Look, it could possibly level out the playing field, and I get it with NIL. But no, I believe these kids should be able to get all that they can get for the sacrifices that they're put through on a daily basis. Yeah, I agree with Gene. It's too far. It's too much. It's too much. No, leave that thing alone. If you, like I said, if you can bring anything into the equation, bring in education or how to spend that money wisely. I think that's the thing that we need to put in, and not a salary cap. It's just ridiculous.
I mean, these kids are already getting crazy amounts of money. I mean, the coaches was getting crazy amounts of money.
Yeah, nobody said the coaches need a salary cap.
True.
No one ever said that. So why put it on the players? No, just provide the education how they can spend that money wisely.
Um, yeah, financial. You had to get them off like financial advisors and things like
Mm-hmm.
that nature, man.
Because you never know. Because you never know. Your chance of being drafted are already slim to none. So unless you're just that guy. So like I said, get the education and spend wisely just in case you don't.
When do you think that the salary cap would even out the playing field?
It would, but you also take away from somebody's going to be left behind because they have to fit that salary cap, and I don't want that for these students because again they give too much of their bodies, too much sacrifice to make these schools money hand over fist. So no, I just don't agree with it.
True. I mean, unless they're giving compensation for all the older people who put their bodies on the line, man.
Right.
I think this whole thing with the money in college football is starting to get real messy, and it ain't gonna get no better until they find a reasonable solution for the
Happy
situation.
a happy medium. Yeah.
Yeah, but who knows what that would be? Whether it be them capping schools out on what they can pay players, you know what I mean, to have like a college football veteran minimum type deal or freshman minimum. I don't know. However they want to do it, man. But yeah, that was a big thing. Cooper Flag, man, is sitting down for the rest of the summer league. He played 2 games, scored 10 in the first one and 31 in the second one. He ain't particularly shoot too well, but he's showing some. He's showing that height, man.
Oh yeah.
Is Flag already showing us that he's the next big thing?
It's a good prelude to it. I don't want to say he's going to be that guy yet because it's summer league, but he's showing preludes that he can actually get the job done at a sort of point forward position. He's showing you flashes that he can do it. But I'm not going to put that on him yet because I want to see it during the regular season when these games count. But he's showing the preludes that he can be the next guy.
Yeah. Um, I don't know what the Mavericks is going to look like for him though, given that Kyrie coming off an injury, AD coming off an injury. So
Yeah, that's gonna be the thing to see what you do with him when Kyrie comes back, because all of a sudden his point forward role might be taken away, so to speak, when Kyrie gets back to run the team. So we'll see what he does, but that future looks promising.
I don't know, man. I don't think he's gonna get the ball too much because Kyrie ain't a playmaking PG. He's more of a scoring, give me the ball, watch me work type of guy. And AD is more playoff ball, but he's pick and rollish type. But
So you don't trust Jason Kidd to get that situation straight to where you can maximize Flag and Irving at the same time on the floor.
no, I trust somebody like you if they had a Udoka or a Mike Malone or
Right.
somebody who can get the veterans in line because when that's what happened with Wemby.
That
Pop
makes sense.
Pop was old,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So he was really just riding a wave at that point. But if Pop was young, I'm pretty sure what they was doing to Wemby his rookie year because he wasn't touching the ball as much and down the second half stretch of the season, they started giving Wemby the ball. They started having more scoring, more production, more
Mhm.
chances to win the game. But I don't know what they're gonna do with Flag, man.
The thing with me with Pop, and it makes me sort of, in all respect to him, did you think he was still coaching the old ways of coaching in terms of philosophy, before he retired?
I think Pop was more so just along for the ride, man. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like I think he had his assistant coaches out there doing majority of the work, just implementing what he has already put in place,
Mhm.
for decades now. So he's just there, you know.
Right, right.
But like I said, man, I don't know about Flag, man. You know,
Well, that's why I don't want to put the quote unquote greatness tag on him just yet, because it's summer league. So let's wait to see what he does in a full his first rookie year before we anoint him, so to speak.
special guest, ladies and gentlemen, we got 7-7. What's going on, man?
Man, I am so sorry about the audio issues. I got to figure
What's
that
up,
out.
brother?
I apologize.
What's up, brother? How
Um,
you doing, man?
man, I am glad to be here. Home run derbies today, All Star games tomorrow.
Yep.
People are pissed
Mm.
off about some of the selections late in the All Star roster. It's baseball season.
Oh,
Carmike,
oh,
Carmike, do you mind if I take over for just a second?
hold on for a second. I got two things I need to get from Seven, man, and then y'all can go ahead because I know
Okay.
y'all want to get into the exciting second half of baseball that's about to
Yes.
start kicking off, man. But real quick, Seven, man, Cooper Flag, man. Dallas Mavericks already benched him after scoring 31. He only played 2 summer games. How you feel about Cooper Flag, man? Is he the next big thing?
um, I think that so far the Mavs have gotten really lucky because he doesn't look horrible. Um, but I think we're 2 games into summer league. Um, Anointing him at this point would be like trying to pick the best guy in the YMCA league after 2 games. Like it's I'm not
Yep.
disrespecting Cooper Flag's ability. I'm not saying he's not going to be great. Um, but it's way too early. That's like a girl asking a guy if he's going to propose on the second date.
Yep.
It's just it's too early. Do I think he looks good?
Too
Yeah,
early.
a 31 bomb is decent, but we also have to look at the fact that he scored what was almost half of the points that the Mavs scored in that game against the Spurs.
Yep.
If I recall correctly, I was looking at the stats. I lost all my tabs when I had to restart my computer. But yeah, if I remember, yeah, it was like almost half of the points. Like, let's wait
Mhm.
until let's see how he actually, if he's going to listen to Kyrie, if he's going to listen to AD. I mean, yeah, I don't want to listen to Kyrie like off the court, but on the court, like that's a good spot to listen to Kyrie. Um, it's just too early, man.
The
Do
one thing
y'all
I will say about this is the fact you saw his basketball IQ.
Oh
And
yeah,
yeah, and yeah, you saw that, and by judging that, you see that he at least has a good basketball IQ to be a success. Like I say, I'm still gonna wait before we anoint him, but you saw the basketball IQ, so to speak.
do y'all see Cooper Flag if he comes in with a high success rate? Do you see him starting to take the role as the face of the league?
no.
Because the face of the league is up in the air. Nobody knows who's it going to be after LeBron and all them retire because they're close. Cooper
I,
Flag, like he got the hype, man, to take it if he comes in full tilt.
Um, I mean, yeah, he could try to come in full tilt like a Peter bit all he wants, but right now the face, if there's anybody that's going to take the face of the league, it's SGA.
I
But
don't know.
that's a concern.
SGA, he don't have
Well,
that persona, man. He's too,
it's
hey,
I
my
don't
team is great, guys, and I just want to thank my team, and nobody want to hear that like
I
that. I mean,
I,
it's the
I
humble
agree.
thing to do.
I agree with Carmike to a certain extent because when you look at SGA, it's a shame we don't have an American-born player who can take that. It's just to me, it's just a shame we don't have an American-born player that can take that. It's just a shame.
Yeah,
Because right now, if you look past SGA, who else are we looking at? Luka, Joker. I mean, it's just a shame that we don't have a U.S.-born player who can take the face of the NBA.
I think that because of the fact that he now has a ship on his belt, I think we've seen a lot of guys get a ship and the persona changes. He was humble getting to the dance. But I think we're going to see a little bit more of an edge to SGA. Especially now that he knows that they got these guys locked down. I know we're going to talk about that a little bit. But I think that we're going to see a little bit of edge out of SGA. And here's the truth. There's going to be some people that are turned off by it. And I'm going to tell them, if you don't like it, beat it. Because right now, Oklahoma is straight up absolutely killing it. And until somebody else proves otherwise and dethrones them, if SGA turns around and says, I'm the man, ain't nobody can say jack about it. Because Luka looks like he can't pass an In-N-Out burger. Joker is more focused on horse racing than he is on basketball. I understand if they have talent, but their head is not in the game like it should be. SGA's head is in the game. And so I think that even if he is more humble, I think that's going to translate to a connection because he is a baller. And that's what people want to see. We haven't had a true baller that had this much attention in a long time. That's all.
And the team that he's on, he's going to have some defections at some point. But if anybody can overcome those defections, it would be OKC.
I mean, or he could just be one of those guys like how Aaron Rodgers got his first championship early and just drifted off into stats.
My only cause for pause on that is the fact if you look at his age, he's hungry and he wants to keep. And I think
you don't think Aaron Rodgers was hungry after his first chip?
No, the ayahuasca fed his appetite, and so he wasn't really eating.
Once he won that first one and got that mission out the way.
As long as we keep SGA away from the ayahuasca, which I think that's more of a white guy thing anyway. But as long as we keep SGA away from the ayahuasca, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, I don't think that'll ever happen to SGA. He's young, he's hungry, and his teammates are hungry too. So I think that's not going to be an issue with SGA.
I don't know. My problem is with that is that we all know this is a business, right?
Yeah,
of course.
But the simple fact that this was the most real basketball in the NBA finals we have seen in a long time, but it was the least watched finals at the same time. So that lets you know that NBA, you don't know what they're gonna do. They don't like that product. They need money.
But that's not SGA's fault. This is a perception of two small market teams in the finals. That's the perception that it wasn't going to be good basketball because it was two small market teams. They proved us wrong.
Well, they don't have the hype because Jordan and the Pistons, they was two small market teams when they played each other, right? Jordan just had way more pizzazz and hype. It's just more exciting to watch. Nobody want to watch somebody who's pushing off, shooting middies all game. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Chicago a major market. It's still Detroit.
No. When Jordan was there, Chicago was not a major market. They became a major market after Jordan started winning.
Yeah. No.
They became a major. Well, but here's
Chicago
the thing.
Only got 6 chips, and they all from Jordan. Come on, Will.
I'm just saying. Once Jordan got drafted in '86,
they still wasn't a big market.
That changed things for him because he gave him hope.
No, once Jordan three-peated, they started becoming a bigger market.
I
disagree.
I think that the reason why I'm kind of in between you two. Here's why. Because when Jordan got drafted, Chicago got a lot more market.
Yep.
And so, while I wouldn't put them as a small market team, they certainly weren't a large market team. But there was more marketing. The reason why this finals was so little watched is because the NBA did zero marketing on the Pistons or the Thunder this year, despite the fact that both teams looked really, really good. They were both playing really good basketball. We had the Pistons make multiple comebacks during the playoffs. Zero marketing from the NBA. We had the Thunder plowing through every opponent in the playoffs. Zero marketing from the NBA. The reason why this was the least watched finals is because of Adam Silver too busy connecting to the mothership with that 9 forehead of his to be able to market the freaking finals.
Oh my goodness.
Those big ears of his can hear radio stations in LA when he's
man.
sitting in New York, but he can't market an NBA finals. That's the thing that ticks me off about Adam Silver.
If the Knicks would have made it, do you think it would have been better in
Oh,
terms from a marketing perspective?
Oh my God, what? New York
Yeah.
would have blew
Yeah,
up,
If
man.
they would have blew up, if the Knicks would have made it.
What?
The Knicks would have gotten swept, and it still would have been a more watched final.
Oh, they would. They would. Yeah.
I mean, come on.
You right.
Let's
You
not
right.
would have swept the Knicks. Let's
Yeah,
not,
you
like,
right.
we can all be honest. Let's not would have
You
swept
right.
the Knicks.
You right. You right.
But it
Oh,
still would have been more watched than it was with the Pacers and the Thunder.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Will, I'm gonna turn it over to you now, good brother.
Appreciate you. Seven, I gotta talk to you, man. You know I'm a Mets fan. You know I'm a Mets fan. You know I love my Mets.
Yeah, I don't hold
What's-
it against you though.
What's going on with him, man? Talk to me. What's going on with him?
Well, you see, what the first problem with the Mets is they paid $780 million for Juan Soto. He doesn't want to play basketball he doesn't want to play baseball. He wants to make money.
Right.
Like
Agreed.
let's look at because there were so many people when the All-Star roster came out. Why isn't Juan Soto on the All-Star team for the American or for the National League? Dude is hitting 262.
Mm-hmm.
He does have 23 home runs, but he also has 78 strikeouts already. He's just one, and I would have to look at the baseball reference on him, but I'm pretty sure that he's near the top in errors as well. He's not playing good baseball. And that's where their marketing starts as Juan Soto because he's supposed to be the face of their franchise.
Right.
And then when you look at how the team is doing stat-wise on the rest of it, Pete Alonso is your batting average leader at 280, but he doesn't want the attention. So he kind of just slinks back, but he's striking out almost as much. He's actually getting more strikeouts than Soto. He actually leads the team in strikeouts, and that's a guy that should be getting marketed. He's got 2 home run derby wins, and you hear very little about Pete Alonso. Honestly, a lot of it comes on the batting side. A lot of it comes down to underperformance. Now, when you flip it over and you look at the pitching side.
That's what's hurting.
This is where you're struggling because your pitcher with the most strikeouts is a guy that most people haven't really heard of, David Peterson. He's pitched in 18 games. 11 of them were quality starts, but he's only 6-4. He's not getting run support. That's what that means. He has, and the thing is, he only has 93 strikeouts. The Boston Red Sox, just as comparison, Garrett Crochet is the league leader in strikeouts right now. He is at 151, 152, 153, something like that. He's over 150. And the expectation for Boston is dramatically lower than what it was for the Mets.
Right.
Because with signing Soto, the Mets should be the belief for everybody is the Mets should be running away with that division.
Should be.
The other thing is, and I don't think this is getting enough attention, and this kind of segues into something else that's been a hot topic recently in baseball. Philadelphia Phillies pitching is hitting at an unreal clip right now. Top to bottom, their top 4 starters all have a sub-4 ERA, I believe. Their 4th pitcher, their 4th starter, Christopher Suarez, has a 2.6 ERA. That's your 4th guy. That's how good Phillies pitching has been. And that's why people were so mad when Jacob Misiorowski got put on the All-Star team, and then the Philly starters are up. Not Ranger Suarez, not Christopher Sanchez, any of those guys. And you're facing a lot more competition than people expect. The reason that the Mets are not performing the way they expected is they are not rising to the level of competition that they brought on themselves. That's what it comes down to.
And they're 22 and 28 on the road, which is atrocious. Your differential is a plus 45. Okay, you're 6-4 in your last 10. They're lucky to be a half game back in that division. They're lucky.
They are. I think that when you look at it, it's one of the things that's hard is out of all of the teams, when you look at like let's say just standings for the wild card, the National League,
Mm.
they do have the second highest run differential, which obviously that means that they are still getting some runs. There is some run support there, but the Mets have also had a pretty easy schedule up to this point. The next 3 weeks will tell you who your team is. And I think that's true for a lot of teams in the league. That's something I've got to watch for Boston. New York has to be watching that. Detroit really has to watch that. Detroit has to get a couple of pitchers. So it's a lot of it's going to come down to the next 3 weeks, man. The Mets have to lock in after the break, or Juan Soto's October planned vacation is going to happen.
Going to Cancun. You're gonna see Pat Bev and them over in Cancun. That's what he's gonna do. They don't get this thing straight. But again,
Yep.
I shouldn't be surprised because we always kind of knock off down toward the after the All-Star break, but we'll see. But that's all I want to ask you, brother.
Yeah, no, it's Mets are gonna Met, but it's man, they gotta. What's up, Keith? They gotta lock in, man. That's really what it comes down to. Because if they don't lock in, this is when it has to happen. Like I'm happy Boston. They are. Well, it's. I think you guys are a wild card team unless you really collapse. Because the Giants aren't far behind, the Cardinals aren't far behind. The Reds are right there. The D-backs could surge. If the D-backs are going to make a push, this is the time of year when they start to lock in.
Yep.
But I think this is another one of those things with the D-backs where what they do at the deadline is going to determine what we see out of them. I think they're going to be sellers. They're going to try and get rid of some salary. We'll see what they come out with next year, or and start to look towards next year because they're even if they make the playoffs, they're not going to make. They're not going to make that. No. So it's if you can lock in, you can make a push. But that's what you got.
All right, Carmike, that's all I got, brother. Appreciate you, man.
So, Seven, you missed the conversation earlier, man. I got to get your take on this, man. Prime time went on a press conference, man. He's making a big deal that they need to do something about all this money being tossed around in college football, man. Particularly, you got teams, like I said, like Texas Tech, got a billionaire behind them, giving them money as needed, man. Do they need to be putting a salary cap for college football?
I think they do. But I think that we need to come back to the fact that the NCAA as a whole needs to be thrown away and rebuilt. The entire reason that we have this problem now is because of the NCAA. If the NCAA had done what they were supposed to do in the mid-90s and allowed players to get paid as the billion-dollar industry of college sports really coming into fruition, we would not have this problem right now. Things like salary cap and limits for, or even just limits per player, per sport. And obviously the limits are going to stagger because you're going to have college football is going to get the most money. College basketball is going to get the second most. And guess what, y'all? This is going to take some people off, but college softball is going to get the third most because college softball is the third highest revenue generating sport in college. So college softball is going to get a lot of money.
No, I ain't mad about that.
But
even on the women's side.
Well, I mean, I'm not talking about women's softball. But the NCAA was hard up. The players cannot get paid. The players cannot get paid. So the players sued. They got permission to unionize, and they got permission to get paid for name, image, and likeness. If the NCAA had been ahead of this, like they should have been, like all these college-educated individuals who they claim they are, and had the forethought to do this, we wouldn't have to have this discussion. And I one of the things I learned as I've gotten higher in business, as I've started being in leadership positions, work closer to ownership, and understand those things. A business that is not thinking forward, because college sports is a business now. Nobody can deny that. A business that is not thinking forward fails. Right. Can we all agree on that?
Yep.
Okay. Scrap the NCAA and redo it all. That at this point, that's what you got to do. Yes, there has to be limits, and I think you have to. Your D1 top players can't get more than $500,000 a year. You give them residency, you give them a reasonable card that has a value of, we'll say, just arbitrarily $50,000 or less. We have to put limits on the transfer portal. If if you transfer this year, you can't transfer for 2 more years.
I disagree with that.
You have to, because a lot of these kids, they're just bouncing around trying to find a spot that will start it. You are not going to learn in that capacity. There has to be limits. Now, if there is if there is a thing where there's a true butting of heads between the player and the program's like, okay, yeah, you can go. That's it. But a player can't just elect to go to the transfer portal every year. It's not right.
Yeah, that don't make sense. I don't like that.
It's let's look at it this way. We've been talking about Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey, before the draft, was throwing a fit about not wanting to go to Utah. Right after, throwing a fit about not wanting to go to Utah. Did not have a choice. Guess what? He's doing just fine. Okay?
But my only pushback to that point of view is that no one else is given limits in the transfer portal. And when I say about that, and when you look at coaches, these coaches can up and leave at any point. But I get what you're saying.
Job, though.
Yeah, but I get what he's saying, and the fact that he wants these kids to stay with the school that recruited them, and I get that point. But at the same time, if it's a situation that is not conducive to you, that first time through the portal shouldn't be an issue. Now, if you're going back through it for a second time, I get you at that point, because that's just ridiculous. But I think you should at least be allowed one time through the portal before you put a limit on it.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you go through the transfer portal, okay, I get recruited by Alabama.
Right.
Miraculously, okay? Miraculously. I get recruited by Alabama. Alabama's like, whoa, wait, this is a white kid. No, we can't do this. I jump into the transfer portal and go to, South Dakota State, okay? I jump in the transfer portal. I get picked up by South Dakota State. South Dakota State's like, oh, wait, we got black people coming to South Dakota. We're not putting 7 on the line. I can't just elect to jump in. I got to learn. I got to develop. I got to earn the right for another to develop. And then if me and the school are in agreement, that's a different thing. And there has to be balance. The other thing I will say, another way that they can balance this out with the salary cap, get back on top. These players should not get access to all this money right up.
Yeah.
And Josh, no, I get what you're saying. That's why I say, I'm not saying they can't be forced. I'm not saying they have to be forced to stay out for you. What I'm saying is there needs to be more limit on this stuff. But the other thing that I will say, and I think that this is a way to satisfy everybody, especially because you're going to have some of the not only these guys are going to make it to the NFL, they're not going to make it to the NBA, right?
Yep.
So here's what we do: they get a standard stipend. We'll say $250,000 a year for D1 athletes. Arbitrary number. That's still a heck of a lot of money, 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Then the schools do profit sharing with the athletes that's staggered, again, based on the revenue of the sport, that goes into a trust that they get when they turn 25 or graduate. Whichever comes first. Because this is how, because part of this needs to be bringing back the importance of education.
Right.
I mean, we need to focus on that, because yes, college sports is a business, but they should also be focusing on education, because that time, not all these guys are going to be like Stetson Bennett, where they're going to spend 8 years in college sports, right?
Yeah.
So we put this in a position where they can still have that money, because these kids should still get paid for their name, image, and likeness, the time to put their bodies on the line. I get all that, but they don't need to have $5 million their freshman year of college. You can put that in a trust, generate some interest, so they get money down the line. They can live off of that for the rest of their life if they want by the time they get out of school. But you put a cap on what they're getting in cash per year. Profit sharing goes into a trust that they get access to when they graduate or when they turn, we'll say, as arbitrary number 24, 25. Everybody's still getting paid, but we're not having anything stupid right now.
Now, do you trust the schools to be right with those numbers, though? Because you're putting responsibility on the school to contribute to that profit sharing.
Well, you have to be transparent, just like teams have to be transparent with their money.
Yeah.
Everything has to be public, especially for D1 and D2 schools. There is so much money involved in that. And as these kids getting paid, they can hand 10 grand to an attorney and go, hey, make them pay.
And I think
that attorney's going to go, all right, give me 20%. Let's go.
And I think another thing too, you need to add to that. I mentioned that earlier. These kids need financial advisors with this money too.
This like
Mhm.
the show that Dan Warner and I used to do, Sports Report After Dark. One of the things that we
Mhm.
talked about is there should no longer be a requirement that these guys pick a specific major like accounting or sports management, stuff like that. That's a waste of their time. There
It
should
is
be an actual professional athletes program where they learn financial. They answer. They learn how to spot good and bad agents. They learn things that are going to be relevant to what they're doing, things that they can do after sports, like broadcasting and things
right,
of that nature. And
right,
and it's more direct to what they're going to be doing, so that these kids are set up for success, and they can have a professional sports degree. There's nothing wrong with that, and I think that it gives them the ability to get the education on financial management, understanding, the conversations all these professional sports teams have to have with these individuals when they go in. Like, hey, if you use a condom, take it with you because they're going to steal that stuff and you're going to end up paying child support.
hmm
Let's start these conversations younger, develop these habits younger, so that these kids aren't getting trapped and they have this money moving forward. And then they're going to be able to look at that trust that we talked about, and they're already going to have business plans. They're already going to have plans for that stuff because, like I said, not all of them are going to make it to professional sports.
right.
So we can
Mhm.
set them up with
That was
success
my
and how
point
to
too.
use it.
Yep.
And it's right now, and that's why I think we should scrap the NCAA, because they are failing these kids in and out from day one.
Mark Cuban wants to restrict NBA vets, mainly the superstars of the team, playing in the Olympics, advocating for a 21 and under team, citing injury risk and when these vets get injured in the Olympics, you ain't getting no compensation or they can't do nothing about it. Your season's just crushed at that point. So, do we agree with Mark Cuban trying to put a cap on these vets playing in the Olympics?
I'll let you go. I was just talking for a minute.
21 and under. What you think, Will?
No,
No?
no. I want our best to go over there, and I get the injury concerns. I get the injury risk. I understand that point, but I'm old school mentality. I still want our best over there. And we've proven that our younger guys can't. And it's been proven years ago that some of these younger guys can't handle the international game. So no, I don't agree. I want our best over there. The injury risk is
Well,
truly a risk, but
well,
I
let
want
me,
our
let me
best
give,
guys over there to
give you
represent
a
our
little
country.
bit of insight, right? There's a lot of players that are foreign that are playing in the NBA and they're
Mhm.
becoming big stars, which
Yeah, but they're
means
gonna
they
play
go.
for their. But 9 times out of 10, they're gonna play for their home country.
But that's the point I'm trying to make. And they also play very hard overseas for their country, which means they
Mhm.
could be their injury. They're already playing 82, 70 to 80 games in the NBA season.
Right, but
Then you
every,
about to go
but
play hard basketball
right, but every team
international.
right, but every one of those teams face the same risk.
They
Every
do.
one of those teams and they're still sending their best over there. So why not? So why not us?
Well, they don't really have a choice because the players have a choice to go play for their country if they so
Right,
choose to.
right,
You know what I
and
mean?
right, and I get that, but I want our best over there so we can win. No, I don't agree,
I
Cuban.
think it was more so he's advocating for the people who are overseas going to play. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Because they're the ones that are up, like SGA playing for Canada. He already
mm.
just had a hard season. He
He
about to
did.
put more stress on his body for the Olympics.
I think there's a simple way to solve this, and I think what it's going to do is it's going to make some of these veteran players, especially ones that are more injury prone. Like, let's use Anthony Davis as an example. Street clothes himself. Okay, if Anthony Davis wants to go play for the Olympic team, that's great. But you're going to sign a document with your team that if you get injured, any guarantees exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say, Josh. Every game that you miss in the NBA because of an injury in an international competition or an Olympic competition, that money comes off. You don't get paid by your team. You got the Olympic team or the international team, whoever, they got to pay for your care, and the team gets that money back. It comes off of their salary cap, so the luxury tax and stuff like that. Because like I was against Major League Baseball players being able to play in the Olympics when baseball is going to be in the Olympics for this same reason. You get somebody like Shohei Ohtani going to play for Team Japan because that's where he would play.
Mhm.
$700 million man. He blows out his arm
A
again
lot
pitching
of
for Team
money.
Japan. The Dodgers are out a lot of money. So you got to give that if you want to risk that, you want to put yourself, you want to go play for your country, whether it's the U.S. or any other country. If you want to put that on the line, great. You sign a commitment with your team that if you get injured and you miss professional playing time, they get their money back. It's that simple. Because then that resolves the issue that Mark Cuban has. And we still get to see some of the best, like Will's talking about, in the Olympics. Because some of those guys are going to be okay with that. Because if I lose $10 million because I miss, if I'm a top tier basketball star and I miss $10 million because I missed the first 5 weeks of the season because I got hurt in the Olympics, it's not that big a deal because I've already made a couple $100 million.
Exactly.
But it pauses and makes them think and make sure they understand they need to take care of their body.
The NFL is looking to extend the season to 18 games. Patrick Mahomes is not very excited about that, man. He said, if they're going to add 18 games, you might as well add an extra bye week, for the stress that they put on their bodies.
Agree with that.
So would y'all like an 18-game NFL season to happen? Or are we good where we at?
The benefit to the NFL having an 18-game season, but everything's still starting where it does now, is that's going to put the Super Bowl on President's Day weekend, which means you have the day off after. For most of us that have, at least, moderately paying.
If they do that, I think they would do the same thing they did with the 18-game season, because it used to be 4 preseason games, now it's 3. So I think they probably chop it down to 2 preseason games, and then you got an 18-game season.
Yeah.
But it still fall on Valentine's Day area.
It's the hard thing with cutting preseason out is you've got to have more time to trap some of these guys. You've got to have more time to skip on that. You can't get everything because anybody can look good in sweatpants. We talked about that in the chat. You know what I'm talking? I mean, you know what I'm saying? You can't just rely on OTAs and training camp.
Right.
So I still think you need to have 3 preseason games. But Patrick Mahomes is right. You have to add a bye week. And that's where, even if we do cut the preseason game, you still have to add the bye week. And but what you do is that bye week that you add in is when we put the powder all-star game thing that they're doing now, where everybody, flag football and everybody's sweatpants and stuff like that.
You're watching that, no way.
Right, but that's the thing is that's where you put it so that it's closer to in the season and not the week before the Super Bowl when everybody's saving up money. And and you give all the players a week off to refresh. Let's say the week after Christmas.
Let me ask y'all a question. You brought up a good point. Do we even need the Pro Bowl?
No.
We don't even need it.
We can elect them because there's financial benefits in that. There's financial benefits in that. Give them an award at the NFL honors.
Yep.
But here's the counter to that. Hockey is on a comparable level physically to the NFL. Would you guys agree?
Yes.
Sure. Hockey.
Those guys.
That's rough.
Hockey's rough, right? And but these guys, they play a hard season. They play, they're getting ready. Hockey's getting ready to expand their season to 84 games, longer than basketball, and that is as physical as football. Those guys play hard in that all-star game. They're still physical. They're still fighting. They're still, leaving the game with stitches and stuff like that, getting right back in once those stitches are done and the blood's dry.
Yep.
So there's just as much of a chance for injury in hockey as there is in the NFL. So we have to either commit to the Pro Bowl and make these guys put pads back on and let's go, or scrap it off. Just give them the award, give them the certificate like you get in first grade, your first grade completion certificate, give them the bonus, and move on.
Problem with the hockey is that them people still got passion for the game. Like they're dumbing down football a lot, man. Like you can barely touch quarterbacks in the pocket. You know what I mean? So they're trying to protect their assets going forward with these football players like Patrick Mahomes getting 10-year, $500 million deals and stuff like that. So imagine Patrick Mahomes getting hurt in the Pro Bowl. Your team is cooked. The Chiefs are cooked.
Yep. Exactly.
Are you telling me that Gardner the Mustache Minshew couldn't lead the Kansas City Chiefs the way that Patrick Mahomes does?
Showbot can't. No, he can't do it. No, he can't.
But another thing is that these athletes today, they don't have the same body that can handle it the same way like Jerry Rice or John
Right.
Elway or
What did they say in
them
every?
boys getting trashed in the pocket, man. Like, and they were still playing.
What did they say in every given Sunday? These guys are built like Tarzan, but they crack like glass.
Yeah,
I
they are.
mean,
They are.
yeah.
They are. They
It,
very, very soft.
It,
Like Anthony Richardson hasn't gotten over his shoulder injury in almost 3 years now.
yep.
He barely
He,
played he ain't even play a full NFL season. And
nope.
then you got players just sitting out for weeks with a turf toe, and they're just soft to me, man. Like so.
when I was a kid, I used to have season tickets to the Arizona Rattlers, the arena football team. And fun fact for those of you that don't know, the Rattlers during that period were basically to arena football what the Patriots were to the NFL in the early 2000s. They were coached by former Dallas Cowboys quarterback Danny White. Roger Staubach and him were friends. I would go to like training camp. Like we were really big fans of the team. I've got to meet Roger Staubach a couple of times. He's kind of a dick. But no, it's a true story. One of the players, he's my favorite receiver. His name is Hunky. His first name was Hernandez. We never called him Hunky. Hunky Cooper was his name. Like the truth. His nickname, everybody called him Hunky. Hunky Cooper. And dude literally cut off one of his toes mowing his yard. 3 weeks later, he was on the field knocking guys out while he was running routes. And this dude is smaller than me, and I'm 5'7". He's like 5'6", maybe $170 in pads. But led the league in receiving that year, despite missing 3 weeks. And this was also the same year where I watched a guy get clocked and knocked into the stands, knocked out cold with a concussion, and he was back on the field 2 weeks later.
Yeah, they definitely don't build them like they used to. Definitely.
And it's different now. It really is.
Yeah, I think they just soft, man. We have another Browns rookie who has gotten himself in trouble.
Oh Lord,
Deshaun
I heard that story.
Arrested on a charge of misdemeanor domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's 2. Junkins and Shador, who was caught for speeding. What's going on with these Browns youngins, man? Talk to me.
It's the culture. Plain and simple. It's the culture. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would be angry and trying to run away and hitting people if I was stuck on the Browns. But really what's going to happen is the Browns are going to be, to modern day, what the Cowboys were in the 90s. They're going to have their own jail cell, Cleveland jail. They're going to have a probation officer that's assigned to the team.
Oh, damn.
And that's what it's going to be. Unless Browns ownership actually puts their foot down and coaching creates a better culture on that team, this is what we're going to see out of the Browns for the next few years.
I think it's the NFL as a whole. I don't think it's just the Browns, because a lot of kids are getting in trouble, especially for a lot of domestic violence. Like, what's wrong with these kids? Hey, walk away, bro. Like
that domestic violence. Did you see that tape?
Man.
That thing was worse than Ray Rice. That was a whole different situation. When it was Ray Rice, she took a shot at him. He 2 shot, bam, and then the second one, knockout. And it's like, bruh, they caught you carrying her out like that? Your career done, cuz. It's done.
Yeah, man. I don't know what's
Your
up.
Your career done.
It's,
I don't know, man.
It's the culture issue.
They need to do like a mental class for these kids or something, man. Like,
yeah.
But that's the thing is from what from former NFL players I've talked to, every team has talks with the rookies and the young guys at the start of every year. Make sure you take care of your mind, take care of your body. You know, like I was talking about earlier. If you hit it, take the condom with you. All of that stuff. Like they have those talks with these kids. They want them to be prepared. And these kids don't listen because there's no accountability. They pay a bunch of money to a layer that gets the charge reduced. They don't, so they just get community service. They miss a couple of games, so they get to spend some time home with their kids playing Fortnite or Call of Duty, whatever. I'm surprised that Kyler Murray hasn't slapped around his boyfriend so we can get a few weeks off.
Call of Duty will come out to October, so he got.
I mean, maybe that's what it'll be. Maybe that's what it'll be.
Yeah.
But there's no real accountability. like when the stuff happened with Ray Rice, like there was like not just from the NFL, there was societal accountability. Dude couldn't go anywhere. Dude still can't go anywhere without people bringing shit up.
Hey,
Not
man.
only that, not only that, but once that happened, because you guys remember, he wasn't even at 5 yards per carry at that point stat wise. It was like 4.1, 4.2. So when you're on the decline like that, you already got one foot out the door. All it takes is one wrong thing and you're done. And that's what happened to Ray.
Well, and here's the other thing. The other problem, and I think this is causing an issue. I'm gonna pull the Ravens into this, and Ravens, no, you aren't catching strays. You know what you did. Justin Tucker, the problems that the Ravens had with Justin Tucker have been going on for a couple of years with him as the white Deshaun Watson. Okay, the Ravens knew about it, and it wasn't until his performance declined that all of a sudden things came out in the public. Isn't that crazy how that happened?
Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
Yep.
No, just let it out. You're going to get your money back. You can go invest it in somebody else. Because, and the fact that the Ravens have not faced any accountability for this shows where the NFL's priority is. So it is, I think you're right, Carmike. It is an NFL culture problem because there is no real accountability for what these guys are doing behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of money, let's play a game called Break the Bank. You know who's breaking the bank lately this coming off season? The Oklahoma City Thunder, $822 million to 3 players: Williams, SGA, and Chet. Chet only played 2 seasons, but 1.5, and he got a championship. J-Dub, he was a solid player, and SGA. How do we feel about them breaking the bank like this, man? Do you think they like? My only problem with it is if the NFL want to pull the rug on them because they're not an exciting team. They're just a strictly basketball. We out here playing to win, and it's not exciting to the NBA masses, the fans. So, how you feel about the Thunder breaking the bank?
That's your core, though. It's different if it was just 3 role players or 3 guys who you didn't anticipate being the next season. These are your 3. This is your core. You can't win without your core. Yeah, they can sustain losses elsewhere along that roster toward free agents because you have draft capital over there to where you can actually replace those guys. But this is your core. You got to lock your core up.
You're right, but do you have to spend $822 million? Now we all know that great teams go deep in the bench. At that point, your bench is going to start getting soft. They got to move some people around.
But that's what I'm saying. They have the draft capital to where they can absorb those losses and get those guys replaced with that draft capital. So if any, and I keep saying this with the management over in Oklahoma City, they built it out perfectly because you're going to have defections at some point when you win a championship. When you win a championship, at some point, you're going to have defections. We see that in sports, but that team is built to where they can actually handle those defections and get those guys, whoever left, get replacements in for them who can do the job, if not as well, just as well.
So here's my thing. Here's why it doesn't bother me. If the Lakers or the Clippers, the Celtics, any of these other major market teams did this, nobody would question.
Nope.
They'd be like, oh, they're just going to have to pay that higher apron tax. And that would be it. Okay, people don't talk about the fact that arena that OKC plays in is loud every home game because that arena is always packed. They have a solid fan base that shows up and spends money. Are they going to have to raise ticket prices? Yes. But the thing of it is, if you're making money and you're getting yourselves marketed to where you've got sponsorships, you've got endorsements, all of that stuff, what does it matter? That's what the Lakers do. That's what the Celtics do.
They do, but the Lakers don't have success unless they spread the money around, which Kobe started to realize. That's why they had to go out, bring Derek Fisher back, bring Lamar Odom back. Hey, let's get Ron Artest. Hey, let's get Paul Gasol. then you have to build, and you got to have a bench to next man up if somebody gets hurt. That's the problem with the NBA. They don't want, like, what if SGA gets hurt? Guess what? They're going to start dumping players because they're going to be over the apron, just like the Celtics are doing now. What if Jason Tatum gets hurt? You're like, oh shit, our season is messed up. We got to dump now.
The one thing that I don't agree with, and this is something that's an issue across all professional sports. This isn't just my team. If a player's out for the season, I get that they're getting that injury money. It shouldn't count on the salary cap. Salary cap should be for the guys that are actually on the active roster, because that actually solves a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And the Celtics wouldn't have to dump a bunch of players. Now, I think the Celtics should be going through a little bit of a rebuild anyway. They kind of needed to. But if for OKC, SGA goes down, why should they have to dump a bunch of salary? His salary comes off of the cap. Now, this is whole season. Whole season, I would say at least 60% of the games. Then for the time that they're out, their salary does not count against the cap. And you have that money, reducing the tax, stuff like that, so you can put somebody in to replace it so your team can stay competitive. That just, to me, that makes sense.
It does, but I think they're more so trying to get stop teams from stacking to make, because if you look at the NBA, not really many people got a big three. It's more of like a big two and a possible player that could step up when needed, the X factor. But I mean, I like the way the NBA is heading, rounding out as far as the competition wise. Like anybody can step, like the East now. Anybody can win the East now. Boston's down.
It's wide open.
Wide open. Like people like that. But the thing is that are people going to watch it? Because people want superstars to be playing.
The thing about OKC though, that I think is amazing, the way they're built. They're one of the few teams that have a big three, but they still have depth in case something should go wrong. They got the depth, they got the draft pieces to replace that depth, thanks to the front office, and that what makes that team a possible dynasty. Possible.
And you've got 3 or 4 years before most of these deals that they've signed this year kick in.
Yep.
So you've got at least 2 to 3 more titles, and that you could possibly win in that time frame if they just go on if they go on a heater and they're just tearing it up through the league. You get 2 titles in the next 4 years before these deals are really kicking in. Nobody's going to question spending the money because these kids have earned it, and it's going to be there because you win that many titles, you're going to have the endorsements, you're going to have the back end money that's going to cover those deals, so you're not going to be worried about that.
Yep.
And you're still going to have depth on your bench.
Exactly. And that's what makes this team so dangerous.
So Jason Tatum is actively recruiting Damian Lillard to join the Celtics. Do we like Damian Lillard going to the Celtics? No, I mean right now he's hurt, so he probably ain't gonna come back till like later down the line, like probably like closer to the end of the season.
I like Dame. Don't get me wrong. When he's healthy, I like Dame. Yeah, you know what he is though. He's going to give you very little on defense. But coming off the bench,
nah, it'd be Dame, Jaylen Brown, Tatum, and whoever else is.
My problem with Damian, my problem is he's gonna have to be. He's a scorer. He's not a distributor. He'll have to learn to be a distributor on that team. I'm not sure.
Tatum plays the point power forward.
But Lillard will have to learn to be a distributor on that team to get the ball to a Tatum, to get the ball to a Brown. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if that would work. I don't really know if that'll work. Not all big names. Not all big names are meant for your team, and I think he's just a big name. But I think it's the wrong team if you look at that philosophy.
What you think, Seven?
I think they're. I think Tatum needs to just chill and heal, and get out of the recruitment game. Play some 2K, play some Call of Duty, heal, because the Celtics gained nothing from bringing Damian Lillard. At the end of the day, there's just nothing they gain.
Will Lamar Jackson's season would it be considered a failure, man, if he doesn't make a Super Bowl appearance this year?
You know what? And I've been critical of Lamar from this standpoint. I'm tired of seeing all these MVP, and he didn't win it last season. That's fine. But I'm tired of seeing all these MVP caliber type seasons not go anywhere. At some point, you're gonna have to win a Super Bowl. So yeah, I'm putting that pressure on him. He's gonna have to win a Super Bowl at some point to garner all this attention, to garner all this love. He's gonna have to put it together and win it. I don't know. You just can't look just at him. He plays on a team that has to take some culpability, responsibility for not winning. But his legacy is gonna have to win a Super Bowl to continue to get this love, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm putting this pressure on him, and I think if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, it's a bust this season.
7. What you think about Mr. Action Jackson?
I gotta look up one thing just because I want to make sure. Okay. So is Black Dan Marino in pressure to win a Super Bowl? Yeah. That's where he's at right now. Tell me I'm wrong. That's where he's at right now.
No,
actually, Dan Marino is slightly better because Dan Marino's actually made it to a Super Bowl.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Marino at least went to one. Yeah.
The thing of it is, I'm not saying that Lamar Jackson's not a great quarterback, because he is, but he either needs to win this year or he needs to move on from the Ravens. And that's going to rattle a lot of people because the Ravens aren't putting the right coaching staff around him. It is not like, yes, he has some culpability.
I ain't gonna say move. I ain't gonna say. I'm not gonna say move. I'm not gonna say move on. But he needs to get to the Super Bowl. He needs to get there.
Listen. If the Ravens aren't going to get rid of Todd Monken, so that somebody that is actually intelligent can call plays for him to use his abilities when they need to, then he needs to move on, because Todd Monken is a large reason why they haven't made it to a Super Bowl.
That's a good point, Josh.
And he is a great regular season QB, but they can't do anything in the playoffs because it's the play calling is horrible when it matters.
I mean, to be fair, some of the play calling wasn't, bad. It was user player error at that point. Like,
right. And I'm not saying he's not accountable for all of it, or he's not culpable for some of it.
Right.
But play calling would get them closer. Good play calling would get them closer than they have.
I mean, because it's not his fault. It's not Lamar's fault that his tight end dropped the football in the end zone.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not his fault. You do have to have breaks to go your way. I'm not saying that part, but I'm just tired of seeing somebody who is garnering all this MVP, all this next generational quarterback hype, and not getting to the dance. I'm sick of seeing it. And
you gotta do what your team do. It's 11 game sport, man.
Right.
11 on 11.
But here's the thing. There's so many people want to try and say that Lamar Jackson is a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. Oh, he's got more MVPs, or he's got the same number of MVPs, whatever it is.
I can't.
But he's not. He's not a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes because he has not proven it. Josh Allen is not a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes because he has not proven it. The only quarterback that is playing right now that it actually could be in that discussion is Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow managed to beat the Chiefs despite having a worse team in that AFC Championship game.
Right.
Okay. So he's the only one right now. So Lamar Jackson and the Ravens got to put up or shut up. And that's why I say maybe he needs to move on, because at some point, when you keep driving the car keeps breaking down, it may not be the same piece that keeps breaking down. It may not be, the same thing, but eventually you got to get out of that Yugo. You got to get out of that Yugo and move into at least a Buick LeSabre. You know what I'm saying? Like,
let me ask you this, Seven. Let me ask you this: who was behind Burrow? Would you put Hurts there?
No, I'm not putting it.
Who would you put behind Burrow? Who would you put behind Burrow?
Allen.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I understand that Jalen Hurts is not a bad quarterback. He's not a bad quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback. He is a product of the success of everybody around him doing their job. because it's yes, he has to make the throws, but if you give Joe Burrow that team, they beat Kansas City by a lot more than 25, 30 points in that Super Bowl. If you put Josh Allen behind that team, they beat Kansas City by more than 25, 30 points in that Super Bowl. Because and the list could go on. I would even put I would say this, and this is gonna piss off some people, and I apologize in advance.
Uh-oh.
I would take Baker Mayfield behind that lineup and give them a Super Bowl just like James.
Oh Lord Jesus. Oh Lord Jesus.
And on that note,
take,
ladies and gentlemen, we are at our hour. I appreciate everybody coming through in the chat, man. I appreciate our special guest, Mr. Seven. Tune into his morning minute that he does on TikTok and podcast name Deferred. I don't know what time you do that. What time you do?
As Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern. We do have the week off the All-Star game, but I will be on the Sports Report tonight. We will. Yep. So if you want to bring me smoke about that Baker Mayfield tape, come watch us tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern.
Well, you got any closing remarks for our people?
You have to answer for that one, Seven. Yeah, please join us tonight right here on Wire to Wire for the Sports Report podcast, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on Wire to Wire Sports. Looking forward to seeing you.
All right. And we're out of here.